Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Relationship Communications Weekly Live. I'm Lisa DeToffel, your host, and today we're going to be talking about taking charge of your day. I have a lot of information to share with you, and we'll dive into that in just a few minutes. For those of you joining us for the first time, I'm the founder of Relationship Communications, where I coach and mentor established and aspiring professionals to create, grow, and scale their network. Relationship Communications Weekly Live is a tactical and practical show that we do every week at the same time, every Friday morning at 10 a.m. So I hope that you will put that on your calendar and make plans to join us. I would love to hear from you as you are coming in. If you're joining me live, please say hello and let me know where you're coming in from. And if you are watching this later on the replay, please do use hashtag replay. And we are sponsored by Tiger Eye Solution, my virtual assistant business. And at Tiger Eye Solution, we work with speakers, coaches, and professionals to help them grow their business, to take over the admin, find the admin solutions that they need, so they can enjoy being the CEO and do what they love to do within their business. And we do this virtually and in our online community. So before we dive into our topic today, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, introduce myself a little bit. I know we're streaming in various different places. So if you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the bell, ring the bell so you can be notified every time that we do go live. We go live at least twice a week, sometimes more, with different types of trainings, and I don't want you to miss anything. So this was me almost 6 years ago when I was a preschool teacher working in a classroom. So I learned a lot. This was over a 25-year period that I was a teacher and working with little ones in a classroom. And I learned so much from working with those children. They taught me, I think, just as much as I taught them. And I built numerous relationships during those years that I was in the classroom with parents and with children. You know, you get a different set of children every year, when the new school year starts. So you start building new relationships, every school year. But I learned that skill early on, and I have also brought that skill into my business as well, because building relationships is key, and being consistent in building relationships and nurturing those relationships is also key to building a successful business. That's a topic for another day. That's not what we're talking about today, but that could be a topic for something we could talk about, because that is a very important piece of having a successful business. And during those 25 years, I also was a single mom twice. This is me and my children during one of those times that I was a single mom. I have been married twice before. They did not work out. The first one was a controlling type relationship. The second one, oh my goodness, it was like a roller coaster the whole time. So many ups and downs and different things that took place during that relationship. So, but also building character when you're a single mom goes a long way. And being a single mom can help build your character for sure, because there's so many responsibilities you have to take on as a single parent, right? So during those two different times that I was a single parent, I learned a lot. Not only working a full-time job and taking care and teaching other people's children, coming home to my own children also was a full-time job. Taking care of them, getting them to whatever activities they were a part of, all the different things. Yeah, it's hard as a single parent for sure. So, there was some highs and some lows, of course, during those years, but we made it through that. And both of those experiences helped build me into who I am today, for sure. And then, of course, this is what my family looks like today. Getting ready to add another little one in just a few months, as my third grandchild will be here at the end of June. So we are super excited. But these are my three children, my current husband, Jeff, and grandbabies for sure, Hattie and JP, which we are super, super excited about the time we get to spend with them. And, they're already a year old, time flies. But this is what we look like today. And then, of course, also in 2018, is when I started my virtual assistant business, Tiger Eye Solution. Took a training program, earned a certification, all the things. I was an author assistant in the very beginning. I enjoyed that. However, when the pandemic hit in 2020, I had just re-niched myself into relationship management and follow-up because I knew how important those pieces are in a business. They still are today, whether you have a relationship management tool that you use or a follow-up process in place. If you don't, I highly suggest you get those in place for your business. If you need to talk, let's talk. Be happy to help you with that. But so that was my niche going into 2020, right before the pandemic happened. And then, of course, when the pandemic did happen, I saw so many professionals and business owners moving into the online space that needed help. So I decided to build a team. So by 2021, I had a team put together. Still have a team today. Just added a new person last week on my team. So yes, we have 11 team members currently on the Tiger Eye Solution team, including myself, and we all kind of specialize and can do different things, which is awesome because we can help our clients in various different ways. So that's a big plus for sure. Okay, we're going to dive into our topic because I have a lot to share with you today. Okay. So here's how to take charge of your day, okay? So we're going to talk about some practical tips about managing your time, your emotions, and your relationships on a day-to-day basis, okay? So let's get started. Again, if you're coming in live, say hello. Let me know where you're coming in from. And hello, Miss Susan. How are you today? Thank you for joining me. Now, we've all got goals, right? We all set goals probably back at the first of the year. We're coming to the end of the first quarter, so you may be in the process of setting your goals for quarter 2 of this year. So we all set goals, right? And so we got those goals. We have dreams and things, that we want to make happen in our lives and in our business, right? So, and sometimes some of us are fighting to stay focused. Yes, we have these goals set and these dreams that we want to reach or accomplish, but we don't always stay focused on that goal, right? So, and this is more common now that, excuse me, than it used to be because there's so much coming at us all the time. Technology is a great thing, but it's always in our face. In some way, shape, or form, it is definitely always in our face. Which, don't get me wrong, technology is great. Absolutely, it can be a great tool for sure. So yes, we have all these things coming at us all the time. I do have some notes if you see me looking at my notes. So I want to talk about some strategies to help you stay focused. Some strategies that I've actually put in place in order to make my day go more smoothly as well. And to feel like I'm in the driver's seat. I'm in charge of my day and exactly what's going to take place. Because a lot of times I know we feel like our lives are in someone else's hands, right? But really they're not. You are your own boss. If you are a business owner, you are your own boss. You're not out in the business world or at a 9-to-5, where you do have an actual boss to report to or supervisor, or, whatever the case may be. If you own your business, you are your own boss. Oh, awesome. Susan says she had some of the same thoughts today. Agree. Tech needs to be managed. Absolutely, it does. It does. It does. So I want you to pay attention to how you start your day. If, I get up in the morning and I start running around like doing this and that and the other, like a crazy person, then I'm not going to be very focused on what I need to be focused on, right? So, and sometimes it can be hard to get back into the quiet, so you can get focused. Mindset, getting the right mindset, right? So you can get focused on what it is, the task at hand, the exact thing you are trying to do. So I want you to think about how you start your day every day. What I do is I get up and I get dressed and get myself put together. Of course, I eat breakfast. I pack my daughter's lunch and I see her off to school. She does drive herself to school, but I do see her off to school before I actually start my day. I come to my office and look at my calendar and then decide what's the most important tasks that I definitely need to accomplish that day. Right? And then I get started, right? So the other that I do is really important, and this is important, really it is. You want to make sure you have your priorities. What I actually do is take a sticky note and write down at least 3 items that's on my calendar for today, the day that is the most important, and those are the 3 items I want to accomplish. Now, there may be other items on my calendar too. If I get these 3 items completed, then sure, I can do those others as well. But whatever the 3 most important items are on my calendar for that day, I write them down and I have them right in front of me all day long. Like these 3 things is the things I definitely need to take care of today to get completed today. Okay. So, I lost my place. Sorry. And that's how I spend my day, staying focused. Yes. Do I take breaks? Absolutely. Those are important as well. But the other thing I do is I decide ahead of time how I want to feel at the end of the day, which might seem like, how can you be in charge of that? But you can 100% be in charge of how you feel at the end of the day. And it's feelings that are kind of funny sometimes, but we think we are not in charge of them, but we are. Okay. So like I said, I write down 3 items that I definitely want to get completed that day. If I get all 3 of those items completed, I'm definitely going to feel accomplished and feel like I achieved what I set out to achieve for that day. Right. Okay. So, at the end of the day, what I've decided I want to feel, if I want to feel satisfied or accomplished, like I said before, and peaceful, that actually what I did that day was what I needed to do, that I did accomplish what I needed to accomplish that day. By making that decision to feel satisfied, accomplished, and peaceful by the end of the day, that's my mindset, right? That I bring into every task that I'm actually doing that particular day, okay? Or every event. I may have specific events I'm attending that day, or, specific Zoom calls or whatever that I'm doing that particular day. But that's the mindset I want to bring with me, okay? Mindset is very important as well in everything that you do for your business, okay? So if that's what I'm bringing into my day, I'm more than likely going to have a better outcome, right? If that's my mindset to accomplish those things. So it's important that you get your day off to a good start, with the correct mindset for sure. Thank you, Susan. I'm glad you're agreeing with what I'm sharing. Thanks for that. Now I want you to do one thing at a time. I told you I make that list of the 3 items, the most important items I want to accomplish that day. Well, I need to do one of those items at a time. I don't need to try to accomplish all 3 at once or 2 at once. Whatever those items are, I need to focus on number 1 and then move on to number 2 and then move on to number 3. So I can focus on each separate item and give it the attention it needs until I get it completed, right? But sometimes we think that multitasking is smart. It's not. It's really not. And we might think that multitasking is going to get the work done quicker. It's really not. It's really not. Okay. So it's like your brain is going to get overwhelmed when you try to multitask. Okay. I guess kind of put it in simple forms. So you don't want your brain to be all over the place when you're trying to do 3, 4, 5 different things, right? If you take one task at a time, your brain is going to stay focused on that one specific task and not trying to do this piece for this task and this piece for this task, because that's just not going to work. It really isn't, okay? So it's not the best way to get something done, okay? It's better to say, okay, I'm going to write my newsletter today, or I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write, and that's all I'm going to do right now. You know, give yourself 30 minutes to an hour, whatever, how much time you think you need, and just sit down and write what you need to write, right? Or you're going to work on your email list. Okay, set another timer for another hour, and you work just on your email list, nothing else, right? Get it put together so it's ready for when you get that newsletter done. You can send that newsletter out to those people that's on your email list, right? Or you're going to work on setting up your calendar. Okay, if you don't have a calendar in place for your business, and you don't want all the distractions coming in when you're trying to figure that out. You know, there's many different types of platforms you can use. Calendly is one of them. Acuity is another one. You pick and choose the right one for you, or some CRMs have calendars built into them as well. I know mine does. That's where my calendar is in my CRM. But you pick and choose what works best for you in your business. But you want to stay focused while you're trying to get that set up. You don't want to be trying to write your newsletter and set up your calendar at the same time. It's not going to work. Something's going to go wrong at some point. Okay. So don't let the distractions creep in either. Okay. And like I like to call this gibberish, because those distractions can come even just into your head, not actually into the physical space that you're working in. I mean, that can happen as well. But distractions can just kind of come into your head, like other thoughts of other things. If newsletters on your list, but also setting up your calendars on your list too, and you're working on the calendar and a thought comes to mind for your newsletter, just jot it down. Just jot it down and then save it until you're actually working on your newsletter. Okay. Don't let your mind start going crazy with all these different thoughts and whatnot for a different task. You got to stay focused on the specific task you're working on. If you're working on setting up your calendar, then that's a task you need to be focused on, right? So that was extra because I didn't have that in my notes, but y'all can have some extra tips today too. So you're setting up your calendar. You want to stop the distractions from coming into your head, and, just tell them, no, this is not the time. It's not time for me to think about that. And that's not what I'm doing right now, right? If those thoughts for the newsletter start creeping in, you say, no, that's not what I'm doing at the moment. I'm working on my calendar. So if, an idea, like I said, just write it down if that idea comes to mind and put it on your sticky note, like I showed you earlier, and, just put it away on your desk until later, right? And then when you do get to that task to where you're working on your newsletter, then get that sticky note out with that thought and then go forward from there, right? Because right now you're focusing on that one thing, and that's what you're doing at that given time. Now, I know a lot of us have an active brain, right? So your brain may be going in 20 million different directions sometimes. I get it. Mine does that too. So what you need to do is talk to yourself and talk to your brain and say, we're doing this. And when we are finished doing X, then we're going to do Y, right? So if you're doing your calendar right now, tell your brain, okay, we're working on the calendar right now. When we are done, when we get that done, then we can go work on the newsletter, right? And this does take practice, okay? To kind of, I do this all the time to make sure my brain is where it needs to be and I can focus on the task at hand. But it's 100% does take practice. But if you practice it, it becomes a habit and it helps you to calm your brain down, especially if it's a very active brain and tries to go, in 20 different directions at one time. So one thing at a time. And I want you to think about your priorities. It's very easy to choose something that's not actually important because it makes you feel good. For example, I have 2 email addresses or 2 email accounts, and my personal account, of course, and is less important right now than my business email, right? And my personal account, there's not a lot in there, so I don't have to give it as much attention as my Tiger Eye Solution email because I get email coming through there all the time, right? And it's very active. So there's a lot going on in there. So it's much better use of my time to spend it in the Tiger Eye Solution email account versus my personal email account, right? However, it's much more comfortable over in my personal email account because there's nothing really going on over there or pressing on me that I need to, that's urgent for me to look at, right? And take care of. So it would be much easier for me to say it's just going to, clean this all up and make it perfect before I start on the hard things. And that's not what I need to do, really, which is how a lot of us function. But we're not going to get the important things done or move the needle forward by doing that. Okay? So it's important to look at what the tasks are to say, okay, this is what I'm really doing. What's important, and think about what's going to move the needle forward in your business and move you forward toward your goal you're trying to reach, right? So because it's easy to spend the whole day getting things done, but not getting the things done that will matter in the long run, right? So let's dive a little bit deeper. First, we're going to have to do the huge, hard stuff, right? And manage your feelings. Because you need to get your feelings in order to be able to move forward with the tasks the important task you need to do too. So you're going to have to elevate in how you feel and decide if your feelings are worth listening to. If a sick friend is worth paying attention to, if you have a sick friend, they may need your help, then that's kind of an important thing, right? You might need to go help them instead of just ignoring the fact that you have a sick friend. The guy in traffic who cuts you off is not. A sick friend, yes, that's important. They may need your attention and your help right then and there. But the guy that's driving crazy on the road and cuts you off, does he really need that attention? Do you really need to spend that energy? No, not really, right? So don't waste that energy on that guy that cuts you off on the road, right? Energy is such a valuable resource, and we only get a certain amount of energy each day, right? So you want to be careful where you're using your energy, okay? The guy on the road cutting you off, he don't deserve your energy, right? But your sick friend does. So you definitely want to focus and go help your sick friend, right? So like I said, you don't want to waste your energy on things that don't matter. So when the guy in the traffic cuts you off, you want to have a little burst of anger, okay? That's okay. Go right ahead. You can let it go and do it and then let it go, right? that's completely fine. But to talk about it for 3 days, that's not a good use of your time. Okay. And sometimes we do that. Sometimes that can make us that angry, when that guy cuts us off on the road. We may talk about it for 3 days, but try not to do that. Just have your little moment, your little anger moment right after it happens, and then let it go. Right. So, that way you're not wasting your energy on something that's not worth giving your energy to. Right. And I used to do that a lot. Okay. I'll complain about things that I should just let go and move on. So definitely pay attention to your feelings and also pay attention to your thoughts. Everything you think is not worth listening to. Most of what I think is not worth listening to. And if you're having negative thoughts, I want you to check in with that and try to turn it into a positive thought. Say, okay, this is a negative thought, and I want to replace it with something else, with something positive, right? And you also have to manage your time. And we, touched on that a few minutes ago. But just because something is happening right now doesn't mean it needs your attention at that very moment, okay? If I spill nail polish on the carpet, that probably needs my attention. I probably need to get that up really quickly, right? But answering a phone call or an email when I'm in the middle of something doesn't need my attention at that very moment. I can call that person back when I'm done with whatever I'm doing, or I can respond to that email after I'm done doing what I'm doing, right? Like right now, I'm doing this weekly live. I could have emails coming in, my phone could ring, but I'm not going to answer it at the moment. I'm going to wait till I'm finished. Okay. So just, we think that it is urgent or that we are supposed to respond, but sometimes waiting and all, makes it better even sometimes. Okay. So we don't need, like I said, you don't need to respond right away. You can get back to that person later. And also, this could be imposter syndrome creeping in, or that gibberish, as I like to call it, creeping in on you. And it could also be low self-esteem. Some of us may have that, or fear. So just relax and say to yourself, you know what? That doesn't need to happen right now. I can take care of that later. And focus on what's important. Focus on the task at hand that you're working on at that very moment. I know what I'm doing, and I'll get back to that later. Here's another thing that needs to happen. You have to train your friends and family as well. When you get serious about managing your time, you're going to have to change your availability. Okay? You have to say to your friends, don't call me, anymore at 1 or 2 in the afternoon because I may be busy with a client. I might be on a Zoom call. You know how you have to train them. This is the time that I'm working. Please do not call me during this time. Okay. Call me in the evenings, or, give them a time frame to where you're not going to be working, and just let them know this is a better time to call me. So please call me at 6 p.m. at night, whatever that time is. And actually, I did that in the very beginning. So I don't have people calling me much anymore. And even my family, if they're at home, because I work from home, my office door is closed. They know not just to come walking in. They knock, or they can text me. Because I can answer a text, if it's something important, especially. They can text me on my phone and say, blah, 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 whatever it is. And then I know there's something urgent I need to go tend to, or something has happened, or it's not urgent and it can wait till later when I'm done working, right? So make sure you set your boundaries with your friends and your family so they know the best time to contact you, all right? But that also is energy, as well. Those distractions can also take part of your energy. So you totally want to change that energy and not have those distractions distracting you all the time. Okay. So instead, if a friend calls, what I say is, "How are you? Is everything okay?" Make sure there's not an emergency, right? And if they say yes, then say, "Awesome. Can I call you back later today?" Right? So, I'm in the middle of something, and that is eventually what happens is they don't call during the day any longer because they know I could be busy. And I'm in charge of calling them back when I am available to talk. And I'm okay with that. What I think from this is that they respect that I'm serious about getting stuff done. And I'll call, like I said, I'll call them back later when it's convenient and when I have the time to talk, right? When I'm available to talk. And if they don't answer the phone, that's their choice. They may not be available at that given time either. And if you have young children or teenagers in your home, you have to set guidelines with them. Just like I said with my family, I do have a teenager that lives in my home, and they know if my office door is closed, not to disturb me unless it is an emergency, right? So, make sure you set those boundaries and let them know when it's okay, when it's not okay. Not to walk in your office or your workspace and interrupt what you're doing, because what you're doing at that very moment could be something that's important, right? So it's up to you to set those boundaries and hold those boundaries to your friends and your families, but still make sure they feel loved and taken care of, right? Don't let that interfere with that. So really think about these things, managing your feelings and your time and training your friends and your family, okay? Sometimes when someone comes to you with what they think is urgent, you have to decide, is it truly urgent or not? Decide what you're going to do around X, whatever it is. And a lot of times, if we're scared that we're not available immediately, that the people are going to go away. And that's not the case. They're still going to be there whenever you are available to talk to them or do X, whatever that is. So you don't need to get that gibberish in your head either. So thank you, Susan, today for joining me live today. And again, if you're watching this later, please do use #replay. And I also want to invite, I'm going to post later today about the VIP club. It's a really exciting club to be a part of. We meet twice a month. The first one is a Q&A session. You bring all your questions and we discuss those as a group. It's not just me answering your question. The whole group can answer your questions. And the second time we meet every month is like a party. We celebrate all our wins, all the things that we have accomplished. Also, the doors to the Networking Method Academy will be closing at the end of March. So if you are thinking about joining and start making the most of your networking efforts, now is the time to do that. I will make a post in the group about that as well. If you have any questions about anything I shared today, please do reach out, send me a private message, and I'll be happy to talk to you about it. Until next time, I hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend.